Hey guys, how are you all? So let's start the story. As your uni mood is not good at all. So Yoongi is busy in his work as he just opened his branch in the London. He mostly make himself busy in the work as he don't want to remember something or think something. The door knocked. Yoongi come in, and then the door opened. A lady come. Mrs. Min's son. You don't do the dinner, Yoongi. I am not hungry. He said while make himself busy in his files. Mrs. Min, but you have to eat something. You don't do the dinner. You don't do breakfast. This is not right. Yoongi-san, Yoongi mom, you don't need to worry. I am fine and I eat. And when I want, you go and sleep. Mrs. Min, I sent coffee for you. Yoongi, no, I don't want. I sleep in some minutes. Mrs. Min, as you said, my son, she said, and go from there. Yoongi signed to see his mother and again. So this is the next text. A boy sits on the chair. It's morning time, and his mood is not like before. Someone come and sit beside him. Say, what happened with you? What happened with your mood, Jimin? Jimin, nothing. Say, now, I am sure something happens. Tell me what happened, huh? Jimin Sam, Jimin, I am so tired from your brother. They know what he did. Jimin, he know I don't talk with him, but he don't call me and ask me how I am. I am at him or not, like seriously. You know him, always busy in his work. Jimin, if he is like this, then why he me, huh? Hey, John said this. He have meetings nowadays. That's why he is not giving anyone time, Jimin. So I am like others, huh? I have. I am also like others. So I am also like others. I made someone special. You are Jimin. Don't think too much. And I. Yoongi sit on the corner and come. Jaehyung, Yoongi said, Jae, can we talk? Yoongi said, Jae, sit in front of him, Jaehyung. You don't talk with Jimin. Yoongi, I don't get time, Jae. I am so busy nowadays, Jae. I know Hyung, but you talk with him, huh? He's at you, Yoongi. I thought to take him here. Jay heard she become happy. Jay really? Yoongi, Jay. And what you said to mom? Yoongi, what? I tell her he is my, and I also tell her everything how it's happened. Jay, what you think, mom? Listen you. Yoongi, she have to listen me like this. I don't give time to him. Okay, then I wait. When you take him here, Yoongi, maybe in night. He said then Tay become happy. Tay really? He's so happy. He's so happy. And he run from there. Yoongi see his brother. Now he thought to meet Jimin. They go home, but Jimin don't. He still is in the university. He sits on the corridor and doing his work. As his mood is not good, so no one call him. And it's good. Yoongi come. He see Jimin is busy in making the assignment. He removed his glasses and stand in front of him. Jimin know who is here without looking without without looking up Yoongi. Now you don't even look at me. Jimin, you must here for your meeting. Yoongi, yeah, I come to meet you. Jimin, I don't have time. Yoongi, your all time is my. He said, hold his hand, and Jimin stand up, and his brother bent and his both hands. He is shocked and then calm, Jimin. And what about your time, huh, Yoongi? Obviously, it's your. But as I'm a little bit busy, he said, and about to go, but as Yoongi, I am here to take you. Let's go, Jimin. Where? Yoongi, just come with me. He said, and he signed the guards to take Jimin things. Jimin is continuously asking him where they are going, but he don't tell him. At last, Jimin stays silent. He look into another side. He really don't want to talk with him. He really don't want to talk with, as he also do whatever he want. Yoongi take him home. Jimin shocked. Jimin, Yoongi, why you take me here? Yoongi, you are my. You have to stay with me, of course. So I stay here. Jimin, but Yoongi, Jimin. Jimin, come and Jim. I am so happy to see you here. Jimin, you know about all this. Taehyung told me he take you here in night, but he take you here now. I am so happy. Jimin, why you don't tell me in morning? Why you don't tell me in morning? Uh, uh, talk with him when I come home. He said, and Jimin looked at Yoongi, who sits on the couch with peaceful face and scrolling through his phone. Jimin, I am going back. Yoongi, stay silent, he said, and Jimin don't speak. He looked. He said, and Jimin don't speak. He looked at Jay, who looking down. Jay, come with me. Yoongi, where is mom? Jay, she goes salon. Yoongi, okay then, take care of him. I come and talk with mom. Jay, where are you going? Yoongi, office. We do dinner together. Take care of my. He said, and Jay smiled. Jimin, listen. Jimin, listen. Yoongi, yes. Jay, you both talk. I come in 2 minutes. He run from there. Jimin, Yoongi, your mom will be at you. Yoongi, Jimin, one day I have to tell them to. Then why not now, huh? And you don't think too much. No one said something. No one said you something, okay? He said, and Jimin just stay silent. Stay silent. She is looking. Yoongi now smile. Jimin see him and smile. For her, Yoongi, now I am going. You stay with Tate. Take care, he said, and he go from there. Jimin sign. He go upstairs. It's night time. Min family is sitting in the dining table doing dinner. Jimin don't want to come, but they don't listen him. Today Yoongi also come home early. Mrs. Min is happy as Yoongi do dinner here. Jungkook also come. Jungkook also come as Yoongi call him. And when Jay see he roll his eyes, he don't know why. He don't like him. He don't have any reason also. Everyone is eating and Jimin is playing with the food. Yoongi see and he pick his mobile. He message him and the notification pop on his screen. He see the message from Yoongi. You are not eating, you want me to you in front of everyone. He said then Jimin is shocked. He places his phone on the side and start to eat. Mrs. Min, you come after a long time, Jimin. Where were you busy? Yoongi, I said him many times come to meet you going to do, Mrs. Min. Yoongi, yeah, he said Jen, Mrs. Min, say, hey, Mrs. Min, you are kidding with me, right? एक मिनट अब आ ही गई है हाथ में तो ओके You are kidding with me, Mrs. Min. Yoongi, what you think? He said in serious voice, and now she know Yoongi is not kidding with him. Mrs. Min, how he is my son. Yoongi tell you everything, mom. Mrs. Min, what tell, huh? You know what you did, Yoongi. I know well what I did, and I explain you. And I explain you, Mrs. Min. I don't want to hear anything. And you go from there. You are not his Yoongi from now. He stay here, mom. I take him here, Mrs. Min. Huh? What? What you are saying? Yoongi, I am saying truth. And if you have any problem, then you can please do. And Mrs. Min stand up. Mrs. Min, I am your mother. You don't ask me. This is what you think about me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for telling me my phone. Jemo, he speak, but Mrs. Min go. Jimin sit there looking down. He don't know what to do, JK. So as we think she react, Yoongi-san, Yoongi, I already know, go and talk with her. He go behind her. JK, guys, don't be, huh? She see him and nodded. He's thinking, Yoongi, come in the room. He see his mom sit on the side. He go and sit beside her. He hold his mom's hand. She look into another side. Yoongi, mom, don't you want to know why I do this, Mrs. Min? Know what I do? After knowing, Yoongi, you have to, mom. You have to know, mom. Mrs. Min speak. Yoongi sign. He really don't want to remember the memories, but he have to. Yoongi, it's almost 2 years ago. I see him in university when I got to drop day and I for him, mom. But he never talk with me. He don't even look at me, mom. And on one night in university party, they said me I go, and I do. I go in the party and there I see him. He's looking so beautiful, and I don't know how it's happened for me. He looking down handle the situation. And next day, when I wake up, Jungkook tell me his family got to know and she decided to send Jimin at someone's house as a. Tell me, how can I do this to my mom? Tell me, it's my mistake. And on that day, I do with him. It's almost 2 months now. Finally, he started to talk with me, and things are becoming better. Things are becoming better. Tell me in all this. It's all my mom. Please don't be at him. She looked at Jimin and nodded. Mrs. Min. Okay. Yoongi, it's mean you accept. Mrs. Min nodded and Yoongi become happy. Yoongi thanks mom. Mrs. Min. It's okay. And he stand up. He go. Mrs. Min see him. Mrs. Min, you try to him and him. But me, Yoongi now see what I do. See what I do. He himself asked for from you. I am also your mother, my son. I never accept like this, she said, and start to look outside from the window and thinking what she do now. Who help her now? And she have only one friend. She call her best friend now. Best friend, besties. Jay, please, Jimin, don't. It's okay. Nothing happened. Jimin didn't listen him. Yoongi come with Jungkook. Yoongi sign him go. Jay look at Jimin and then he go out with Jungkook. So Trey and Cook is Jay don't talk with him as Jungkook. Yoongi stand there watching him and then sign. He sit in front of him. Jimin see him. He again looking down. Yoongi up his and he wipe his Yoongi. Don't waste your pearls, Jimin. Why you do this, huh? Yoongi, for giving you your right. I do so many things. Jimin, I don't want anything, Yoongi, but I want you get. Jimin see it's not stopping from his eyes. Yoongi sits beside him. As much you want. After that, I don't let you. Jimin close his eyes and start. After that, Yoongi. Hmm. Wipe his Yoongi now, okay? Jimin, what I do? Yoongi, you don't do anything. I do everything. I already did so many things in past. Jimin, why don't you forget about all those memories? Yoongi, how can I forget what I do? Jimin, it's okay, Yoongi. You were on that time, but still, you don't. It's just me who become. Yoongi, still, sir. Jimin, it's okay, he said. Jimin, no, what I said to Auntie Yoongi, nothing. I talk with him and she understands me, Jimin. Yoongi, now don't, he said, and Jimin, why the things is like this in our, if Yoongi everything become alright, trust me. Jimin see him and nodded. Yoongi, now let's sleep. Jimin nodded and they both. Okay. इसका प्लान बन तो रहा है कहाँ तो उन्होंने देखें क्या बनता है on the bed. Okay, so as both each other, but this is first time there. So Jimin is nervous, Yoongi him and Jimin close his eyes. He open his eyes and he see Yoongi. He looking down, place his head on his, and he also fell in sleep. Both sleep peacefully. Hmm. So this is the third last text. Some days pass as Yoongi and Jimin come home. No, this is not a third last text. Yoongi and Jimin come more and more. Mrs. Min stays silent, so Jimin think she is happy. He always makes something for her, and she sometimes said she is not in mood, and sometimes she said she don't eat this. It's big, Jimin. But he stays silent. Now he is making the coffee for her as she first time said her make coffee. Her best friend come. Jimin is so happy he is making the coffee, but someone come and put his both hands. Jimin know the person. Jimin, Yoongi, you come early today, Yoongi. Miss, that's why I come. Jimin go and sit in the living room. Yoongi mom best friend come. What I do with them? Let them talk with each other. They meet after a long time. Jimin make face. Jimin, oh okay. What I do, huh now? Yoongi I. He said and turned him. Jimin about to speak and Yoongi placed his finger. Jimin see him. Yoongi, I spent time here. He said and Jimin down his lashes. Yoongi look at me. He said and Jimin look at him. Yoongi is Jimin. And okay, so hmm. Mm-hmm. And Jimin then heard footsteps. Yoongi, what is this, Mrs. Min? Mrs. Min? Mrs. Min, best friend, come. Mrs. Min, friend, you are here, Yoongi. Don't you even come to meet me? Yoongi, yeah, I am about to come. Jimin start to make the coffee. Hurriedly, So once again, I am feeling sleepy. हाँ तो क्या करें यार, नींद आती है तो फिर क्या करें. 3:02. It's time to go academy. Okay, करो और free हासिल करो. Click here to download http. Okay, the coffee. Mrs. Minfant, why I think I did something. Yoongi, because you did him mumble and Jimin sign him. He stays silent and Jimin done with the coffee. He run from there. She looked at Jimin. Mrs. Min, here's your Yoongi. Yes. Mrs. Min friend. So this is the third last thing. Jimin come in the room. He sit on the bed. Yoongi is talking with them. Jimin don't know, but he think Mrs. Win still don't normal with him. But what he tell to Yoongi? He is already busy in his office work and now this is good if he do. Maybe she accept him. He is in his thoughts when Yoongi come in the room. Jimin see him and stand up. Jimin, Yoongi. Yoongi hold his and him. Jimin, let's continue what we leave, he said. Then Jimin chuckled to see him. He is really in his, and this is what he liked the most. and the door opened. Jimin shocked. Sorry, guys. Yoongi, from when you learn to knock on the door? Jimin, it's just some days you get and I need time. Okay, so it's just like me. हवा काफ़ी अच्छी चल रही है बट जहाँ मैं जाती हूँ उनका घर बंद है रूम में तो आ ही नहीं रही ना time and more over here. See the time. You both are in afternoon, huh? Yoongi saw. I need to ask you time. Maybe. Yoongi said, why you come? Jay, our mother best friend is calling him. Yoongi and why? Jay don't know. Jay now you come with me or come after few minutes. Jimin, no, no, I come with you, he said and about to go. But Yoongi held his hand. Yoongi, you go. You go, said them. He's coming in 5 minutes. Jimin, Yoongi, Che, okay. Che, go. And Yoongi see him. Yoongi remembered this man, Jimin. You know, but I don't you. So be careful, huh? He said and he go. Jimin see himself in the mirror. Yoongi always do this. Okay, so खत्म हो जा खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा पता नहीं क्या बात है Jimin come in the living room. She already sit there. He looked at him and Jimin gave him and she looking down and started laughing. Mrs. Min, come sit, she said, and Jimin sit beside her. They start to talk with each other. Mrs. Min, friend, your story is so Jimin. Jimin stays silent. Mrs. Min, friend, you know what, Yoongi never do this type of. Jimin, I also don't do. And when I said he do something, huh? He may, but he have. He just, Mrs. Minya, from 2 years. She is said and Jimin smiled. She remembering that time and that's when. That's why Young always come to drop me university. He said and Jimin smiled. Mrs. Min and her friend looked at Jimin. Mrs. Min, serve us tea, Jimin, she said, and Jimin nodded. Tea. And shocked Mrs. Min, I am sorry. I don't know how it's happened, she said, and Jimin see his hand. She said, and Jimin see his hand. Miss J. Oh my Jimin, your hand. He holds his hand. Jimin is on the edge of, and there Yoongi come. Yoongi go and bring ice tape. He said and they go. Yoongi point of view. I was going, but I see I don't have my file. I come home to take my file and I see Jimin is serving the tea and my mom intentionally split the cup. Um, they sit on the couch. Yoongi, shh, it will be fine. Don't try. Jimin, Yoongi, he said. Then Yoongi looked at him. He calmed him. Yoongi, how can you do this, mom? हाँ तो अब यहाँ पे मेरा टेक्स्ट बच गया हम्म 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 Mom, I see you do this intentionally. If you Jimin that much, then tell me. I take him from here. There we go somewhere and you stay here happily. This is the first time you did this and I don't do anything. Mom, but I don't anything on Jimin. Remember this. He said and to take Jimin from there. They see his mom and he also run upstairs. Mrs. Min friend young. Now Jayang young. Now it's enough. Your son hints so much. You have to accept him. Mrs. Min. Mrs. Min look at his Mrs. Min friend. But now we can't do anything. And some chance we have to in front of our kid. She nodded. Mrs. Min. I said sorry. Mrs. Min friend okay. And they started talking. Mrs. Min see her friend and then look up. She signed. She know how to make everything fine. Okay, so finally, the voiceover is about to finish, and this is the last scene start and the third last text. Yoongi checked Jimin in his room. Yoongi, are you okay? Jimin nodded. Jimin, Yoongi, see his hand. Yoongi, I am sorry. Jimin, it's okay. Maybe she don't do this. Yoongi, I see by my eyes. He said Jimin's sign. He really don't want Yoongi don't talk with his mom because of him. Jimin, you said to your mom, Yoongi, why? Jimin, you at her. It's okay, she's your mom, Yoongi. Yoongi about to speak, but the door opened. Mrs. Min come, her friend also come. Mrs. Min don't look at Yoongi and Jimin stand up. Jimin, auntie, come, sit. Mrs. Min sign as no, Mrs. Min son. Me of what I did, Jimin. It's okay, auntie, you're older than me, Mrs. Min. No, Jimin, it's you, son. I always face and the people is so. I just don't know what happened with him. I become like this even. I am also from village and his dad is CEO. And I forget this for. This is the second last text. Jimin san said this. Auntie, it's okay. He smiled and Mrs. Min smiled. Mrs. Min, thank you so much. Jimin, no, please, auntie. No, please, auntie. Mrs. Min, call me mom, son. Jimin smiled and Mrs. Min looked at Yoongi and she about to go. Yoongi, mom, he hold his hand. Mrs. Min, don't talk with me. Yoongi, sorry, please, Mrs. Min, how you do this? First you don't tell me and get and now on me. She said and he hold his Mrs. Min looked at Jimin and he signed and smiled and Jay, wow, what is happening here without me? Jay also go and his mom JK and me. Jay, this is the family time. You go Yoongi, Jim and Mrs. Min. Jay sign and call him Mrs. Min. Friends come, I click your pictures. She said and everyone stand on the line. So finally the voiceover is finished. And just a last text. यार मौसम काफ़ी अच्छा हो रहा है. And just a last text. And is honest. Jimin is saying this is the family photo, but as it only listen. Both look at each other when she clicked the picture. Hope so you all like. If you like, then subscribe and tell me in comments. Take care of yourself. Sange. Bye bye.